Welcome to Dreams Inspire Reality Podcast with Tara Darnley, a podcast for creatives looking to turn their dreams into reality with practical strategic steps from everyday people and entrepreneurs who are living their best lives possible. Dreams inspire reality. Turn your dreams into reality. Dreams inspire reality.
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited about today's episode. Today, we have the beautiful Amelia Thomas, who is a financial planner who specializes in the planning and wealth management for owners of small to mid-sized businesses using strategies and techniques that are typically reserved for the big boys, the billionaire club, right? A native of Montgomery, Alabama, Amelia has been actively working within the world of finance for over 15 years and has had the privilege to not only work as a planner, but to also build wealth management programs for other financial institutions. Amelia's passion lies in assisting families with creating, implementing, and maintaining legacy, building frameworks that will carry the family wealth forward for the next 200 years. She has a dedicated money team, which she'll be talking to us about today and how to build you one, because you're going to need a money team. That includes attorneys, CFPs, CPAs, and other qualified professionals to ensure that one cohesive strategy is implemented to grow and protect her clients' assets. Amelia, I'm so happy to have you here today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for inviting me. How are you today?
I'm awesome. I'm so happy about today. So, guys, I first was blown away by Amelia. About a year ago, I saw her at a conference and she was just like murdered the stage. She killed it. And I was just like, who is this woman? I want to meet her. And I've just been following her journey since then. And she's just like a wealth of everything when it comes to money, wealth, and how us as small business can make sure we're equipped in our business to be able to manage wealth and build wealth. Because a lot of us, we're like, hey, we want to build a legacy, but we don't have things in place. So Amelia is going to talk to us about that today, how to build your money team and all those good stuff. So Amelia, the first question I normally ask my guests is, are you living your dream life?
Yes, I would definitely say that I'm living my dream life, even though my dream life gets scary at times, as most entrepreneurs' lives do. But I would definitely say, yes, I'm living my dream life.
I love it. I love it. And can you go into that a little bit more? Like, what does your dream life look like? And I know for a lot of us, sometimes we're like, oh, our dream life looks like I have a yacht, I have this big, beautiful house. And it's, for some of us, it's like, I have financial freedom. That's my dream life. So what does your dream life look like?
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by Naturalicious, who is the world's first time-saving natural hair care line for busy women that delivers the results of 12 products in only 3 steps. A 3-step, all-natural, highly effective hair care system that delivers, moisturizes, detangles, and defines curls in a fraction of the time. Available at 1,200 Sally stores nationwide and sold online at SaveTime on washday.com.
Well, for me, my dream life actually is more so time freedom. So I have the freedom to kind of move about. It's actually really time freedom and career freedom. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you why. So on the time freedom side, I have the ability to set my own schedule, and I have the ability, if I want to work all night and sleep all day, I can. So I just want flexibility with my time. And that works really, really well for me because I have a sleeping condition, and it makes it really difficult sometimes for me to operate at maximum capacity, between the hours of like 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. But afterwards, like I'm good to go. Like I'm great all day. But when you work corporate America, you typically have to be at work at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. So I have more time flexibility to do the things that I want to do and to do the things that I enjoy. As it relates to career freedom, for most people who are in the financial services industry, or let me be more specific, if you're in the investment industry, you know that your licenses restrict you. They're like handcuffs. And there are just things that you can't do. There are things you can't say. You can't go speak on a radio show without notifying your compliance department. You can't just have a seminar whenever you want to have a seminar. There's always rules and regulations and someone telling you, no, 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 you can't do that. And I no longer have those restrictions now because I have my own investment firm and, I'm probably one of 50 in the country, African Americans with their own investment firm now. So, I have time and career freedom to do the things that I need to do. And I'm pretty sure now that I have those things, and it took a while to get those things and create some new dreams and hopefully make those come true too.
So I like that you just glossed over. Yeah, I'm just one in 50 that has my own investment firm. Like, it's no big deal. Like, it's a major deal. And we're going to touch on that later. To let people know, what does that mean? Like, what is she talking about? Like, that's a huge deal. And I'm so very proud of you for that accomplishment. Before that, can we just talk a little bit, you're welcome, about what exactly is a financial planner? Do I need one as a small business owner? Like, why do I need a financial planner? At what stage should I be thinking about hiring a financial planner?
Absolutely. And that's an awesome question. Thank you so much for asking it. So what I like to tell individuals is when you are at the point where you want more direction and you want more control over your assets and your money, and you want these assets to work for you, it is at that time I think you should hire a planner. Even if you don't have several thousand or several $100s, to put away each month into some type of investment. It's just the fact that you're making financial decisions in your life every day. And sometimes you can make better decisions if you had the guidance of a planner on your team. So that's what I would like to say, to people who may be wondering, should I go ahead and hire a planner? Believe it or not, particularly a lot of millennials, they are actively seeking financial planning advice. No, they don't have a ton of money right now because they're just getting out of school. They're just getting, they're really good paying corporate jobs and they're just now starting a family. But they have questions surrounding all of these things, like how to manage my student loans. How do I put away for my kids' college education? Like, they have questions on top of questions on top of questions. And so they may be willing to pay, for monthly advice, instead of having to transfer, $50,000 over for someone to manage. They don't have $50,000 for you to manage, so this gives you the ability to get the professional advice that you need without having to worry about having assets to transfer for someone else to be paid.
Wow, that was a lot. So at what point would we hire somebody like you? Would you say when it's like as soon as we start making money, or should we wait a little bit down the line? Or because I know your bio says you deal with small and mid-sized businesses. So at what point do you really take on any business to say, you know what, it's time you start planning?
So honestly, I would say at the point someone is making large or significant investments into their business, that's probably when you actually should be looking to hire a planner. And it's not to say that you would be hiring a planner at a, $5 or $10 or $15, $20,000 level. You may have a smaller package, but that planner can deliver a lot of value to you in terms of how you're maneuvering or how you're pivoting in your business and how these things affect you financially. And that's really the goal. You need to start building a relationship with the planner. And that way, when you're having conversations, you're doing your quarterly check-ins, you're talking about your overall financial situation, your planner can give you advice and tips on how to move forward financially in your business. There may be different systems that you need to be creating at certain times in your business, and you'll never know because you're not talking to anyone. You don't have a professional on your team, so as part of your squad goals, in my opinion, one of the first people you should have, is a planner.
Squad goals, talking about squad goals, because we hear all about squad goals, but we never hear about, and I've been in business for 4 years, and I think you're the first person that really talks about like building a money team. And it just makes, when you think about it, it's like, okay, this should be common sense, right? Because you're in business to make money. Why not have someone who's making sure that you're making more and you're managing it properly? So you need a money team. So can you talk to us about this money team and what does a small business, how does that look like? Because some of us, we're at a stage where we're just starting off, we're just getting a personal assistant. So like you mentioned before, it's something that we need to start thinking about right away. So what are some of the key people that we need to hire to build our money team?
Absolutely. So number one, I would definitely say, of course, the financial planner. The financial planner actually would serve as your quarterback of your money team. So you absolutely need a planner. And when I say a planner, I mean a fee-based financial planner. So this is a person who works based on the advice, or you pay based on the advice that you're giving. The planner is not paid based on you purchasing a product or a service. You're literally paying for the advice. The second person that you need on your team is an accountant or, a bookkeeper, if that person is one and the same. And at some point, you may need to go ahead and bring on a CPA, just depending on what type of business you're in and the level of work that you're doing. You may eventually need a tax strategist, depending on the level of income that you're bringing in. And then, of course, at a minimum, you're probably going to need attorneys. You need someone to make sure that, you're not infringing on anyone else's trademarks if you haven't already done that. You may need attorneys to create or draft contracts for you. You may need attorneys to look at the legal entities and structures of your business. So when we're doing tax planning for our clients, that's one of the things that we look at, because legal entities and structures also impact taxes. So we look at those things when we're building a comprehensive money team. And so for my clients, if they don't have the individuals necessary to build their plan or to complete their money team, we bring those individuals to them. But if you already have them, we still work with them. Like, we don't tell our clients, oh, you have to fire your people. No, we still work with them, but everyone needs to be communicating some type of way. And if your parties cannot come to a central location and have a conversation, your planner is the quarterback. Your planner is the person that is conversing with all of these people to make sure that your strategy and your plan is in place.
I love that. A huge thing that I've seen, especially within our community, is that we aren't putting things in order, right? A lot of us are saying, like you mentioned earlier, well, we're running a business, but even the format of your business is not correct. Like, you don't have an LLC in place or S Corp or whatever you decide to go with. You don't have those things in place. And so I would assume that building a money team is probably the last thing on your mind, because
right.
You have certain things in place. So even getting to the place where we want to hire someone like you is like, how do I even do that? Because I don't have all the things that you probably require for some of your clients to have. So what are some of the things that, before I come to you as a small business, like, Amelia, I need your help. What are some of the things that I should have in place so it will make your job easier when it comes to, planning, when it comes to like planning, my financial wealth to go forward? What are some of the things that are like a must have, like, okay, you need to have this, or this conversation doesn't even make sense?
So what I would say is, I don't have any must-haves. Like, you absolutely have to have these things in place, because part of the reason why you're hiring a planner is to help you get these things in order. So there may be some foundational pieces that we work to rectify when we first establish an engagement that we need to work through. And that may take, a few months to get ironed out and sorted through. And then we can work on other aspects on your financial life, both personal and business. But I wouldn't say there's a minimum thing that you have to have in place.
That's good news, guys. Don't be scared.
Yeah, because again, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people seek out planners. Like, they're like, my stuff is a wreck. I don't even know where to start. I get sick to my stomach thinking about it. Can you help me?
That's true.
And that's where we come in.
That's very true. Let's talk about, I'm going back to your bio, because your bio is so amazing. I was just like, okay, these are questions I'm going to ask just based on your bio.
Oh my goodness.
How can one plan to carry the family wealth for the next 200 years? Because to me, that's a goal. That's like a major goal. Like, what are some of the things as small businesses we can start implementing to make sure that happens? Especially for a lot of us, we talk about wealth and we talk about generation wealth and just a legacy. How can we start implementing some of those things, even if we're not like at profiting $1 million a year or whatever it is? How can we just start little by little?
Great question. So first, I would definitely tell people, particularly if they're a profitable business, well, it doesn't even matter if you're profitable or not. You absolutely need to work with an estate planner just to get basic docs in order. And when I say basic docs, I mean basic legal documents like a will, a power of attorney, medical directives. If you are in a partnership with someone and maybe the business is a 50% ownership, maybe you need some type of buy-sell agreements in place. In the event something were to happen to you, the other partner can buy out your portion of the business. You may need some business succession planning done, just depending on where you are in your business. So again, your planner will help you flesh those things out. And if you don't have an estate attorney, your planner will help you get one. Or if you have one, those are things you need to be working on. You also may need to be looking at establishing some type of trust. Trust allow you to control from the grave, and a lot of people just like to put estates on beneficiary documents and think that's going to take care of everything. But no, it creates more problems. And in fact, it decreases your estate because that's more money leaving your family's legacy that could have been passed down without the estate taxes associated with it or without the probate taxes associated with it. Insurance is another key thing. A lot of other communities understand the importance of being properly insured. And a lot of people don't realize it, but in most cases, you can get up to like 30 times your annual income in insurance before carriers start asking, really hard questions like, why are you buying all of this insurance, right? And if you're purchasing term insurance, you can get this really, really, really inexpensively. And as you build your wealth plan is built to accommodate larger and larger amounts of insurance. And that includes larger amounts of whole life insurance. And I know there's a big saying of, buy term and invest the difference. But, unfortunately, that strategy does not work for individuals looking to build wealth. And wealthy individuals understand the importance and the need of why they must have whole life insurance, because they need something that's going to carry them for the rest of their lives.
Well, you just convinced me. I'm like, okay, when am I going to hire you, girl? But that was like, again, guys, see, a wealth of information, just a wealth of information. So can you give us, because I know you also talk about saving on taxes for small businesses and how much money we're leaving on the table or losing or how much we can get back. And that's something you're really big on. And being that it's tax season, do you have any tips for our small businesses out here? Like, what are some of the ways they can save on taxes this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that the new Tax Cut and Job Act bill created a lot of opportunities for small business owners. And those opportunities, they really do vary. They vary in scope. They vary depending on the state that you live in. So there's a lot of different opportunities, right? So what I would definitely say first to answer your question is, if you have not actually sat down with a tax strategist or whoever prepares your tax return to look at your financial situation for 2018, you absolutely need to do that. And your tax person should be asked documents so we can prepare your tax return. If that is the only conversation you're having with your tax person, I, number one, can assure you you're overpaying in taxes, okay? You absolutely need to be having a more thorough conversation with your tax person about what you did last year. Often you traveled. Where did you travel to? What conferences and events did you go to? Did you sponsor anything? I mean, there's a ton of questions that you're not going to be able to gather the answers from just from a document, a data gathering document, right? So number one, you should be having some type of conversation, 15, 20-minute conversation with your CPA or your tax advisor prior to them completing your tax return, because once they figure out more and more about your business and how you operate, they know how to they should know how to streamline and find additional deductions for you. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would tell you is that, documentation is everything. And proper documentation is not just your credit card statement. No, I'm talking about the actual receipt where you purchase those products at Office Depot for your business. You need to keep all of your receipts. And if you have a hard time keeping track of your receipts, download some kind of app, start saving this, take pictures and save it to a special Google Drive folder. You need to keep your receipts, because when you're working with a tax strategist, they're going to be looking for all kind of ways to help you save money on taxes. But a lot of times they can't help you because there's no proof. And the IRS, they typically do targeted audit. They'll come back and ask for a specific thing, and you have to be able to produce the goods for that specific thing. And so a lot of, CPAs and even tax strategists tend to be more on the conservative side. And if you can't provide that documentation, they won't even take the deduction for you. So a lot of people are losing money, that way because they just don't have documentation. They can't prove what they say they spent. Number three, I find that a lot of people are not calculating their mileage accurately. You need an app. Like I have an app, it's called Mile IQ. I love it. Maybe every 3 days or so, I sit down and I take like 2 or 3 minutes before I get out the car and swipe right if it's a business expense, swipe left if it's personal. But it literally keeps track of every time I'm in a vehicle. And you would be amazed at how much more I'm able to now claim in deductions that I wasn't able to capture before using that piece of technology. A lot of people, when they're small business owners, they don't even think like, hey, the mileage from my house to my office may be a deduction, like just not thinking that way. So that's another keen deduction that's often underutilized. And then I would say the last one would probably be, believe it or not, the home office deduction. So a lot of people, they have repairs done at their home. They may have a patio put in, a porch. They're doing improvements on their home overall. You should be having conversations with your tax person to see if you're able to take a deduction on a portion of those repairs as well. So those are probably I know they're more high level, but they are high level tips that are not utilized enough. So.
And they ain't free. No, but the 4 tips you gave, I know for you, it might be like, these are basic. These are like stuff that everyone's, like you said, CPA should be implementing. But I've gone through several CPAs and I had to do my own, myself and my husband, we had to do our own research to say, hey, shouldn't we get tax write-off for our home office, or shouldn't we get for this, or here's a receipt for this, shouldn't we get for this? So like you said, for some, it's just like literally, we're doing your tax for the year by, if we save you money, we don't, we save you money. If we don't, we don't. And that's it. So I know that, like you said, there's not a lot of people like you or tax strategists, like you said, that is really helping small businesses. So I think the question that I will follow up with that is, how can we make sure that we're hiring a good person when it comes to what are some of the qualities we should be looking for to make sure it's not just like, hey, you want to just file my taxes and buy and see you next year? What are some of the things that we should be looking for?
As we celebrate Black History Month, we're happy to have this entire month's podcast episodes be sponsored by Naturalicious, who's the world's first time-saving natural hair care line for busy women that delivers the results of 12 products in only 3 steps. A 3-step, all-natural, highly effective hair care system that delivers moisturize, detangle, and define curls in a fraction of the time. Available today at over 1,200 Sally stores nationwide and sold online at SaveTimeOnWashDay.com. Made for women with natural hair by women with natural hair. In fact, the founder, Gwen Jamer, is the first African-American woman to hold a patent on a natural hair care product, proven to save up to 80% of time on wash day. I've personally used Naturalicious products for my daughter, and we both love the results it's given her hair. It's available today at over 1,200 Sally stores nationwide and sold online at SaveTimeOnWashDay.com. So if you're looking for a product that reduces the time you spend on your hair care, this is the product for you. So be sure to head on over to SaveTimeOnWashDay.com or your local Sally Beauty store.
Oh, that is such a
And I know it's a loaded question. I know it's a loaded question.
That is such a difficult question to answer. And the reason why I say that's a difficult question to answer is because a lot of tax professionals are trained to handle business a certain way. And that is a more transactional way. It's not in an advisory capacity. And therefore, they treat it like a transaction. And you find most CPAs working in that model. We're just now seeing more and more CPAs starting to venture out and providing more advice or guidance around just overall tax situations. So with that being said, the first thing that I would tell, anyone to do if I was having this conversation with someone is to do more interviews with tax professionals, like actually figure out what their philosophy is. Like, do I only talk to you at tax time, or are you checking in? Like, are you proactively checking in with me a couple of times a year just to see how things are going if I have any questions? Ask questions like that to figure out how much engagement do you have with this person, on an annual basis. Again, if you're only talking to your tax person at tax time, that's a problem. Okay. That is a problem. I can assure you you're overpaying in taxes. There's no ifs about it. Okay. So that's the first thing I would tell someone is to actually just do a little bit more due diligence when they're actually speaking to different providers. I would normally say, ask for referrals and recommendations. But, people may think their CPA is great because they don't know anything else, right? They may not know that their CPA should be doing all of these other things. And maybe these are just services the CPA don't offer. But in their mind, this person is the best person, since sliced bread. So
No lies.
I would normally say ask for referrals, but I think you need to be careful about where you're getting information from. It's almost like there was a saying I used to say all the time, like, it's okay to listen, but it doesn't mean you have to heed the advice. It's almost that same type situation. Like, ask for referrals, but make sure you continue to do your own research to see if this is really the person for you, and don't just blindly, accept the referral. The third thing I will always ask people is you probably should ask your tax person or your CPA, what type of training are you doing to stay up and current, with the current laws? Like, if you're only doing your continuing education, I'm gonna need somebody else. Like, like I need you to be out going to conferences, doing whatever you got to do to stay up on what's going on and learning new strategies, because things are always evolving. Things are constantly changing. I don't know everything. I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. But I also attend other conferences so I can continue to learn, and I can continue to bring different strategies and techniques back to my clients. And if that CPA or tax person never, ever goes to any conferences and they only do CE, I would not want them as my tax person. The last thing
I think you're going to get a lot of tax persons fired this year. After this interview, everybody's going to be like, so you ain't doing nothing.
And I'm not jumping on tax people. Let me say this.
You're just educating us as small business owners.
I just think, we need a little bit more guidance than what we have been receiving. That's all. And then the last thing that I would say is, if you really need somebody that like specializes in taxes and federal taxes only, look at an enrolled agent in your area. Like, that is their job, to specialize in taxes. If you have a lot of back taxes, go hire an enrolled agent to figure out if they can do some type of IRS tax resolution for you, but that's their only job. Like, CPAs have multiple hats. They be generating profit and loss statements, balance sheets. They may be working on an audit for a corporation. They wear multiple hats, but this enrolled agent, their only job is taxes. That's it. Just be more mindful about the type of professionals that you hire for your actual needs of you and your business.
And what I wanted to include, a question I wanted to ask with that, are you able to work with clients nationwide, or you're restricted to a state? Because I know for some, professionals, they're restricted. Oh, we can only work with you based on the state that I'm in. So are you restricted by state, or you can pretty much work with anyone, no matter where they're located?
No, we're no longer restricted by state. So as long as they're in the continental United States, that we can help them.
Yes. And in regards to that, let's talk about your firm, girl. Let's talk about being 1 out of 50, because like I said, you kind of like, she was just like, I'm just going to jump over that. But we want you to break it down for the regular folks that we don't know what she was talking about. We don't understand like how hard that was. But once break it down where when we do understand, we're going to all be like clapping. We're going to be clapping because this is major, and I don't want you to just like gloss over it like it's nothing. It's a huge deal, and you're going to transform so many lives just with this. So can you just tell us a little bit more about that, sister?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the first thing I want to say to that is that we know in the industry overall, in the investment side of the world, that there just are not enough African Americans. So you have all of these firms, TD Ameritrade, Edward Jones, Charles Schwab, Franklin Templeton. I mean, you have all of these investment firms. They're consistently, trying to find unique ways to bring more African Americans in their firm, because their staff is just not reflective of their customer base, right? So, and we know when it comes to diversity, diversity of opinions and experiences matter. As it relates to, serving your clients. So all of these firms are looking for ways to expand African Americans in their ranks. And I won't go into too much detail about that because that is just a completely different story.
It's a whole
say that I have always kind of been like one of the only cookies in my departments, if not the only cookie in my department. And I have been in situations where I'm in a room full of individuals and someone will walk right up to me and they'll say, "Hey, my name is such and such, you are?" And I will say, "My name is Amelia." Like, "Oh, great. Nice to meet you. Whose sales assistant are you?" Like,
I thought they were going to say, "Can you get me some coffee?"
Well,
because I'm sure
I didn't have that happen to me, even though we know the story about Melanie, Hobson. So I haven't had that happen to me. But, I have oftentimes been taken as the sales assistant, someone's secretary, someone's, assistant planner, like never the planner or never the compliance person that has to approve every single transaction you attempt to do for your clients. Like never. So with that being said, just throughout my years in the industry, I have noticed a lack of information that's not getting to Main Street. So if we know it's not getting to Main Street, we know it's not getting to Black folks, right? My concern has been with the lack of information that trickles down to my communities, the communities that I care so much about. And while I have spent a career building plans and providing guidance and compliance support for every other community, that rarely translates back to our community. And so I wanted to actually build a firm that will allow me to do exactly what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, and how I wanted to do it with my clients. And the only way I could have done that was to actually branch out, bite the bullet, and start my own investment firm. Now, the key difference is you may have a lot of people who say, oh, I own my own, financial planning firm or my financial services firm, but they're actually a broker for a bigger company. They may be a broker for Primerica, or they may be a broker for Edward Jones or Raymond James. They may be a broker for all of these other firms. I am the broker. I am the firm. Mm-hmm. And that is the big difference. So I can actually hire brokers for my firm instead of having to go through a third party to actually do so. But doing that, I'm able to maintain, complete control, creative control over the things that we do in our firm and how we assist our clients. And that is one of the biggest things. I say less than 50. I don't know that number to be exact, but there's not very many African Americans in the country with their own RIA, which stands for being a registered investment advisory organization. There's not very many at all. And part of that reason is because it's just so darn expensive. Mm. When I say expensive, I mean, this past year, from June to December, I practically spent almost a third of my salary, wow. From the last time I left work as an investment professional, just to get that done. That's not help. That's not compliance support. That's literally just attorney fees, just to get one aspect done. No marketing, no software, no tools, no nothing else. That's just that one piece. And it's terribly expensive to get into the industry. And I think that's also by design. And so, until we're able to, I'm not even going to say it's a matter of pooling assets, but until we're able to build more wealth so we can create more Black-owned firms, we're going to continue to see a lot of the problems that we see with information not being passed down to our communities the way that it should be. So I think that's pretty much my spiel on that. It was terribly expensive. I probably could have stood to work a little bit longer to pay for it because it was so expensive. But timing is everything. And I felt like this was the right time to make that jump. And so I did.
I think that's an incredible feat. And I also think that just hearing your story, the first things that came to mind was like, how could we have supported you, right? If we knew about it, because I think people nowadays are genuinely wanting to support and see new changes like this and being educated, like how important it is. So I think I would say to you, next time, let your community know, let us know how we can help. No, seriously, let us know how we can help. We don't have all the, but I think if you educate people and you start letting people know what the challenges are, because we want to see this happen. This is needed. This is needed. And it's just amazing to see that you were able to do it by yourself. And I'm certain there's more to it and more to come and more trials and all those things. But once you let us know, we'll all support you, going forward. And I'm super proud of you for that. And I think that's amazing to be able to, I know 1 out of 50, okay? I know 1 out of 50. So I'm proud of you. That's amazing. So I'm going to cut off the money talk and just wrap up real quick. Then we'll go into a fun round. What would you, to sum up, what's the 4 things that we need for a money team to make sure our 2019 is successful, that we absolutely need? If we don't have, we need to be working on it. We need to figure it out how to get it.
So it's really going back to those professionals that I was speaking about before. So a financial planner, unless you have just a really good sense of finance and you have the acumen to figure things out. If you have the acumen to figure things out and, do the research and you have the time, go for it. But if not, cut your losses, hire a planner. Number two, again, that accountant or that bookkeeper. You need someone that's keeping up with documentation. And if your bookkeeper is not requesting you to send in your documents, I'm not going to say fire your bookkeeper. But what I will say, what I will say is that you need to keep up with those receipts. And again, proper documentation is not your credit card statement. It is the actual receipt where it is itemized on what you purchased. Third, some type of tax strategist, whether that's a CPA or you're working with an enrolled agent to work on your tax strategy. And last, just make certain that there's just certain legal protections in place. If you're a sole P, go ahead and become an LLC. Go ahead and protect your personal assets because your personal assets are not protected when you have just a sole P. And speaking to protecting your personal assets, even if you have an LLC, a lot of people who are being litigated against right now, they do find their personal assets caught in the mix because they're not maintaining proper corporate documents. They're not having an annual meeting. They're commingling funds between accounts. And all of these are signs that you're not a true business, that you're really operating as a sole P. And it makes your personal assets very easy to obtain in the court of law. So make sure you're keeping up with your annual meetings, your annual minutes, your corporate books, you're filing, you're paying your LLC fees each year. These are just basic things that absolutely have to happen. So on the legal side, again, we had a really good friend today. She wrote this post about the importance of trademarks and how it can be very costly. Make sure that you have done a trademark search or you've hired someone to do one for you just to make certain that you're not spending all of this money on a business idea or on a business that legally can't be yours anyhow. So those would probably be the 4 main professionals you need on your squad team.
I love it. And now we're going to go into some fun questions.
Okay.
So, who's your favorite entrepreneur?
My favorite entrepreneur? I would have to say my favorite entrepreneur is probably going to be Robert Smith.
Robert Smith? Why?
African-American man that, is worth a couple of $1 billion. He has several venture capital funds and he gives a lot of money back to communities. And he has started giving more and more money back to HBCUs. And I'm a product of an HBCU. So when I see things like that, it just makes me want to support and follow, this person even more. So we've been seeing a lot of that from Robert lately. And I hope it continues. But he's an awesome entrepreneur and I love everything that he represents and the companies that he purchases.
I love it. What is your latest business win?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say my latest business win is that I got a referral from one of my clients for another client who we may be potentially onboarding here within the next couple of days. And this is probably a bigger planning client. So this is probably a $20,000, $25,000 planning client, annual planning client.
Excuse us.
And again, don't take that the wrong way. I mean, their situation is just a lot more complex. So
that she only takes on 25K clients, guys.
That's correct. That's not the case. That's not the case at all.
Hope.
That's not the case at all.
What's your favorite business tool?
Right now, I'm going to say Bonjoro.
Okay.
It's my favorite business tool.
Okay. Last book you read?
Last book I read was probably a financial planning book. I think it was actually, I've been reading When I Had Time, Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. So that's probably the last one I've read.
What did you want to be when you were young?
A financial planner. I've known since I've been 14 that this was the industry I was going to be in.
Aww. What was the last good deed that you did for someone?
Last good deed that I've done for someone outside of pro bono advice?
What was the last good deed that was done for you? The referral?
The referral, yes.
And guys, we had her speechless and my mission has been accomplished.
Yes, you need to prep people with these questions. I don't.
That's the whole point of it being fun. So y'all smart people don't have time to think.
I guess
smart people just come naturally. Okay, smart folks. Yes. This was fun. I'm so honored to have you on. This is going to be incredibly impactful for our listeners. If we want to connect with you, can you let everyone know where they can find you, your social media outlets? We're going to link that in the show notes, but just go ahead and let people know where we can connect with you.
Absolutely. So you can also find me on my Facebook page. It's Amelia Thomas, Small Biz, B-I-Z, Financial Planner. You can go to my website, ameliathomas.co. And we're in very much the infancy stages, but we do have now a private Facebook group for people who want to learn more about building wealth. And it's called Unconventional Wealth Hackers. Unconventional Wealth, WEALTH Hackers.
I'll be joining.
Okay, come on
I'll be joining.
over.
And guys, definitely join because she's a wealth of knowledge and she goes live and she gives amazing tips that helps you to prepare, free tip if you guys are like, oh, I want to feel her out first. You shouldn't have to because this was it for me. So again, we were so honored to have you on, guys. Be sure to connect with her. And this, guys, I promise was just like her going a little bit, like giving a little bit of herself. Like if you really want to see her in action, connect with her so you can get the full Amelia. This was a pleasure. This was fun. We definitely should do this again.
Thank you, Tara. I did. I had a great time.
Yay. And we got her speechless. So that was also fun.
Yes.
That was also fun. But guys, be sure to connect with her. We'll put all her contacts in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in and we'll see you next time. Be sure to check us out. Dream big, execute hard, fall 2019.
Dreams inspire.